some individuals seem indispensable, always at the center of success. How do they achieve this? Let's delve into the intriguing story of Olivia, a shrewd entrepreneur from the bustling metropolis of Arcadia who mastered an age-old principle, the 11th law of power. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Olivia wasn't just an entrepreneur. She was a knight on the chessboard of the tech industry, always a step ahead, always indispensable. She owned a technology company that was a goldmine of innovation, but it wasn't just her company's cutting-edge technology that propelled her to the top. Olivia knew the game of power well and played it to perfection. She positioned herself as the go-to expert in her field, the queen bee in the hive of tech business. Olivia offered services that were not just good but indispensable, technologies that were not just advanced but proprietary. She formed partnerships that were not just profitable but exclusive, making her collaborators and competitors heavily reliant on her expertise. But Olivia didn't stop there. She wove a web of dependencies around her, intertwining the success of others with hers. Cutting ties with Olivia wasn't just a loss, it was a setback, a significant one. This clever strategy made her an indispensable force in the industry. Her competitors, collaborators alike, found themselves entangled in this web, hesitant to challenge or compete against her. With her astute grasp of the 11th law of power, Olivia built a network of businesses heavily reliant on her. She didn't just survive in the cutthroat world of technology, she thrived, she dominated. Olivia was not just a player, she was the game itself. With the 11th law, Olivia built a network of businesses heavily reliant on her, securing her dominance in the cutthroat world of technology. Now that's a masterstroke of power, wouldn't you say? But what happens when the tables turn and you find yourself in a situation where honesty is your best weapon? Can honesty and generosity be used as tools of power? Let's journey to the serene kingdom of Eldoria, where diplomacy and alliances are as crucial as air for survival. Here we meet Cedric, a savvy diplomat who had a knack for the 12th law of power. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. Cedric was handed the task of negotiating a fragile treaty between two neighboring realms on the brink of war. The air was thick with tension and distrust, and the stakes were higher than a skyscraper. But Cedric, knowing the lay of the land, decided to employ a tactical blend of honesty and generosity. He selectively shared vital information, making concessions that seemed magnanimous on the surface but subtly served his kingdom's interests. It was like a game of chess where he revealed certain pieces, making his counterparts believe they were gaining an advantage. Through this selective honesty and strategic generosity, Cedric managed to disarm his counterparts, not with swords, but with words. They began to see him not as a cunning adversary, but as a sincere mediator, genuinely interested in a peaceful resolution. The veneer of honesty and the perfume of generosity created an atmosphere where trust could bloom, enabling Cedric to steer the negotiations smoothly. And when the ink dried on the treaty, it was clear who emerged victorious. Cedric, employing the 12th law, had disarmed his victims, securing a favorable outcome for his kingdom. It was not just a successful treaty that he won, he also earned the admiration of both realms. His ability to navigate the complex labyrinth of power and persuasion was lauded and celebrated. Through the 12th law, Cedric showed us the power of honesty and generosity in disarming adversaries and securing success. The next time you find yourself in a power play, remember Cedric's story. Sometimes the greatest power doesn't come from strength or cunning, but from the ability to disarm through honesty and generosity. So, what can we glean from Olivia and Cedric's stories? Let's delve deeper into the strategic maneuvers of these two characters, their understanding of power dynamics, and how they've applied the laws of power to their advantage. The brilliance of their strategies lies in their ability to navigate complex relationships and influence others subtly. Here, we'll summarize the key points from their stories and explore the significance of these laws in our own lives. Let's begin with Olivia, the cunning entrepreneur from Arcadia. She thrived in the cutthroat world of technology by mastering the 11th law of power. Learn to keep people dependent on you. This law is about creating a sense of reliance where others deem your expertise, your services, and your contributions as indispensable. It's about positioning yourself at the core of their success, so much so that any attempt to sever ties with you would lead to their downfall. Olivia's strategy was not about brute force or overt control. It was about the subtle art of weaving a web of dependency. She offered unique services, proprietary technologies, and exclusive partnerships, presenting herself as the go-to expert in the field. Her partner's success was intertwined with hers. Their growth hinged on her innovations. By fostering this kind of dependency, Olivia ensured her dominance and discouraged any challenges or competition. There's a valuable lesson here for all of us. In any field, whether it's technology, business, or even personal relationships, being indispensable is a powerful tool. It gives you leverage, it gives you control, and more importantly, it gives you an unshakable position of influence. But remember, this law isn't about exploiting others, it's about providing value that others can't do without. Moving on to Cedric, the savvy diplomat from Eldoria. Cedric was a master of the 12th law of power. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. This law is all about the strategic use of honesty and generosity, not as weaknesses, but as powerful tools to disarm, win trust, and influence others. Cedric found himself in a delicate situation, tasked with negotiating a treaty between two realms on the brink of war. He knew that raw power or intimidation wouldn't work here. Instead, he needed to build trust to disarm his counterparts and to subtly steer the negotiations in his favor. And how did he do this? Through selective honesty and generosity. Cedric shared crucial information, revealed certain vulnerabilities, and extended generous gestures. These actions might seem risky or naive, but they were calculated moves. They served to disarm his counterparts and create an atmosphere of trust, making the negotiation process smoother. But Cedric's honesty and generosity weren't blind or unconditional. They were selective, strategic, and always served his interests. He wasn't just a mediator. He was a player, subtly manipulating the game to secure a favorable outcome for his kingdom. The lesson from Cedric's story is clear. Honesty and generosity aren't just moral virtues. They can be powerful tools when used strategically. They can disarm your adversaries, win their trust, and open doors that might otherwise remain closed. But like any tool, they need to be used wisely and selectively, always keeping your ultimate goals in mind. So as we look back at Olivia and Cedric's stories, we see two different approaches to power and influence, both effective, both insightful. And while their situations and tactics might differ, the underlying principles remain the same. In the world of power and influence, remember to make yourself indispensable and use honesty and generosity as your secret weapons. The 11th and 12th laws of power aren't just about gaining control or securing an advantage. They're about understanding human nature, navigating complex dynamics, and subtly influencing others. These laws aren't meant to be manipulative or deceptive. They're strategic tools to be used wisely and ethically. They remind us that power isn't always about brute force or intimidation. Sometimes it's about creating value, building trust, and fostering relationships. As we continue our journey, let's keep these laws in mind. Let's learn from Olivia's mastery of dependency and Cedric's strategic use of honesty and generosity. Let's understand the subtleties of power and influence and how to navigate them effectively. Remember, power isn't just about dominance or control. It's about understanding, influence, and strategy. It's about knowing when to be indispensable, when to be honest, and when to be generous. And most importantly, it's about knowing how to use these laws to our advantage. So until next time, keep these laws in mind on your journey to success. Remember, power and influence aren't just about what you have, but also about how you use it. And in the end, the most powerful person isn't the one who rules with an iron fist, but the one who understands the subtle art of influence and the strategic use of dependency, honesty, and generosity. In the world of power and influence, remember to make yourself indispensable and use honesty and generosity as your secret weapons. Until next time, keep these laws in mind on your journey to success.